Happy Saturday afternoon. I'm sorry, it's after 12. My bad. I am your man, your host, your talented Mr. Drayton, here on a Saturday, September the 17th, the year of our Lord 2022. I bring come to you every Saturday with my friends and the homies to express all my old man curmudgeon views and bring you some news you may or may not can use and all kinds of good shit. We encourage everybody coast to coast around the globe to tune in, chime in, and be a part of the conversation. Introduce my panel today to my, I guess y'all is to my motherfucking right, the founder and co-chief, my partner in crime, the man himself, Mr. Malcolm Travers. Hey, sir.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Yeah,
Happy Saturday.
We don't believe you.
I know I'm making it till I can make it.
We don't believe you. That's not very cool. And my man down below, a new contributor and someone who we follow each other on Instagram, and he has very, very definite opinions. I was like, the world needs to hear you, sir. Did you fix the IG, bro?
It's in the works, yeah.
Well, we're gonna call him JJ. His name is John. John, welcome to the show, sir. We appreciate you, and hope you
appreciate you having me.
And hope I do not scare you off. So let's go ahead and start with some news that you right. That's look. I'm a brain sometimes. I'm an internet pariah.
Oh my.
Yeah, we argue, but it's all in love.
It is all in love, definitely. Oh, hey, what's going on? How are you? I know who that is. Be more in the house. So let's start with some news you may not know. So, the ex-president is barreling on cracks. I don't even know. Let's just say investigations with an S. The DOJ has subpoenaed over 40 of his former staff members. Yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen, but this is not gonna end well for anyone because now we are next week or week after next we're gonna get new hearings, which is not good.
Oh yeah, the January 6th hearing.
Not good 5 weeks before an election, because now that soap operas are going off, America has nothing to watch. There you go. So, congratulations to the January 6th committee. They did what needed to be done. Whoa, the homie is in the building. Oh my goodness. The man with the plan himself, ever font of wisdom, Jeffrey Roman. Jeffrey, meet John. John, meet Jeffrey.
Nice to meet you.
You as well.
So, yeah, we're talking about some news that you may not use. And what I wanted to, because I'm trying to move fast to news, but what I really wanted to say was it has been reported that the president's staff is gearing up for a 2024 run. I'm so sad. That man is just going. I mean, he's 112. He's looking like the Crypt Keeper. I think they just prop him up behind the podium. I love John. Stop it. I know you're a diehard Democrat. I'm so sorry for talking about your dear leader, but he is. I love Joe. I mean, I've had the distinct pleasure of being on the train with Joe one time, 2 times, and very fine man. Fine. He believes. I can say most politicians are kind of sleazy and grimy and in it for the wrong reasons. But Joe is Joe is the man.
Herschel Walker.
Ooh.
Love it. Man, you're trying to get banned already. I refer to him as he who name we shall not mention. Because I'm not giving that freak any kind of notoriety, whatever. And but speaking of that, though, I love this ad with he tried to kill his wife, and then she. So, if you guys are watching outside of Georgia, which I know hundreds of thousands of you are, that's cool. Google Herschel Walker's wife's ads. She's in the ad talking about how he tried to kill her, and then at the end of the ad, they played the police.
Wow.
Yeah. Congratulations for a second term to Senator Warren.
Warnock, exactly.
Yeah, I was actually listening to a pollster talking about the issue with polls, why they're not good. and this is actually one of the reasons, is that Republicans who do not want to vote for Herschel Walker will not say that in the polls. That's what they're feeling like. And it's really hard for like cross voters. Like they're ashamed, because they're Republicans. They're like, I don't want to tell anyone that I'm going to vote for a Democrat.
That is the problem with the Google tutorial. That is the problem with the Google poll. That's why dear Stacy's still dancing, because internally,
and
they're going to be
clearly
probably a regular number of ticket breaking voters anyway. Yeah.
Clearly, Herschel doesn't have a lot of money in his coffers, because I'm getting tired of that same commercial about America is racist that he keeps running over and over again.
Yeah, and I find that a little disingenuous coming from a black man. I
Right.
think you have money. That's like me saying, hey, fuck black people. And I mean,
But Kanye West did the same thing. So,
but
yeah,
but we know for a sincere fact that Kanye.
Well, this is the funny thing to me about it, is that I think racism is often mixed in with classism, right? So I mean, like once you reach a certain status, I think it becomes a lot easier for a black person to be anti-black.
Well, let me tell you something. I know somebody personally, and they don't talk to the help. They don't talk to the people that cut their grass.
I mean, yeah, because I mean, racism is mainly just, to me, I feel like racism is just displaced classism, right? Like
it is.
By being black, you're automatically put into a lower class, but really racism is just a form of classism, right?
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
I mean, but we saw this also. Remember, let's not forget O.J. Simpson. I mean, there was literally O.J. Simpson, got caught on camera several times saying that essentially he was not a black person, and it wasn't until he got tried for that white woman's murder that he found out otherwise.
That he was black.
Right.
And Herschel has said it. Herschel has said it. Herschel was like, hey, I swim above. I don't even listen to, because it doesn't make sense. I watch recorded shows of Jeopardy. I kind of record Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune to speed through those ads, because for some reason between the 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock hour, those are the only ads that you see. And Stacey and Reverend Warnock have a lot of money, and I love them, but they are more than 1/4 of all the ads. Like, they obviously know something, because because it has been my experience as being a political fan, because that's what I am. I do nothing professionally in that realm, but yeah. So the thing is, it's really interesting that Stacey and Reverend Warnock find themselves on the offensive. They know something in the internal polling. She was in an interview the other night. I think she was talking to my new favorite, my old favorite that's back on MSNBC, but she's a new favorite, Alex Wagner. She now does the My Favorite Lesbians Hour on MSNBC at 9 p.m. with Alex Wagner, and she was like, don't believe everything that you read. She was like, because that is determining to depress the vote. If they think I'm losing, they're not going to show up to make me win. She was like, so let's pretend I'm losing. And she said, and I loved it. It was super fantastic. Also, in more white people news, something's going on in Ukraine that the Russians have pulled out, but now they're investigating 30,000 war crimes. But watch this thing, because the UN is meeting on next week, and we have in our arsenal, her name is Jenny. I forgot her last name. Pardon me, but she is the foremost expert on war crimes, and she works for the U.S. government. And something's about to go down where they're, so I think that's why he went ahead and pulled out, because the world's about to turn against him. So congratulations to the Ukraine. I hope you have a good time with all our tax dollars.
Basically, the reason it happened was that they did get these new missile systems that basically had twice the range.
Is that where my money went?
Right.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
But also, like, they did this sort of rope-a-dope where they told them that they were going to do this offensive in the South, and then they went to the East and took back all the regions in the East, and then the people in the South were isolated. And so they basically took like twice as much as they thought they would. I think, and here's the deal though. The reason why we're spending all this money is because we don't want to get into like a nuclear conflict with Russia, right? Like we kind of forget about like there's nothing we could do to stop them from invading someone. So this is why we're doing it. That's why we're spending all this money, because some of the alternatives would be way more expensive and deadly.
I get it. We're trying to avoid World War III. I get it, but
right,
dude, like I still see long lines at food banks. I'm just,
yeah, it sucks.
Yeah,
and not only that, they're afraid that Putin doesn't want to have a loss. Like he's one of those very fragile, narcissistic people.
Well, but
throw him a bone.
Yeah,
just so he can say he won.
I thought we weren't talking about Donald Trump anymore. Oops, I'm sorry.
But yeah, they're really afraid of him. Like they think he's
no. But the other thing is, so they're starting to hit him in the wallet. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
the world is getting together.
They have to do something to let him be able to save face if he's going to really retreat.
He's bareback on us, but I digress. But in good political news, I think Reverend Warnock is going to pull it out, and it still looks like the Democrats are on the projection to overperform in the Senate, and the House is looking a lot better. Nancy was on C-SPAN the other day cutting cake, but again, the internal. I have the pleasure of being acquainted with Cornell Belcher, and I follow his blog. So I sent him a social media message, and he responded. He was like, the internal polling looks well. So I don't know if it was him or probably an assistant, but I was really happy to hear that. But in other news, let's go ahead and move on to. We're going to be talking about LGBTQAI. Did I miss a letter, Jeffrey?
Yeah. Well, just add the plus. That's what we do.
John, I don't want to be offensive to that. If I missed your alphabet, I know the L's don't like the B's and the B's don't like the T's, so we're gonna just kind of plus. But anyway, we're gonna talk about aging, retirement, and dating after a certain age, because it was brought to my attention on the Wednesday show that 45 is considered old in gay world. Now I'm 49.
Yeah.
I don't feel it. I don't. I have a whole bunch of friends that are over 40 and 50, and they credit is good. They live in their best life. I mean, I just don't. I don't feel that. But
yeah, because I'm 70,
sir. Sir, you will not get on this platform and spew lies. We don't have that. We have Donald Trump for that. We will get. No, but one reason why I asked you on, John, was ironically is because you made a comment on Malcolm's Hour Wednesday that you grade prematurely. You're actually a fairly young person, but you just grade in your early 30s, and I'm sure, like, nothing. So I was out doctor's appointment or something, Jeffrey, the other day, and when the young person 20 something behind the desk refers to you as sir, it's just my soul was broken. I was I went from hey, how you doing, dude, to sir, would you like for me to get the door for you, sir? Like, oh my god.
That's not necessarily an age thing, because
oh yes, it is.
It was by how I was raised. I mean, I remember even when I travel, I go places and people are like, "You're from the South, right?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah." And it's not always the accent, but they was like, because people just don't say that anymore. I mean, that's
was calling me old because the younger black man that came in the door, who flung the door open just like I, she's like, "Hey, dude, how you doing?"
Oh.
Sir, be careful. You don't want to break a hip, sir. Please.
Don't break a hip.
Please keep still, sir. We don't want to have to send you to Shady Pines.
Well, the one I always get is Unc.
Oh yeah. I think I told somebody that while I was coming out the store. Take it to go walk light, uncle. I'm not your motherfucking uncle. Fuck out my face, Jawan T. Blackman. Type. Well, greeting from across the pond. I'm so glad. I know you're wonderfully happy that we changed the hour of the show, sir. So now you can be awake. Hey Zeke, we missed your chair, sir. From Baltimore in the house. We'd like to say what's up to all our viewers in Spain, Hey Africa. You know, y'all. I'm gonna let y'all in my inbox one time. I get weird. What is it like to be American and gay? You guys are lucky. You guys are so lucky. It sounds like a Beyonce song. Don't jealous me. I love it.
It's true though. There's like a lot of like Nigerians, Ghanaians, who are on it, social media wise. And
they watch us, and I'm just like, well, they're looking for citizenship too, but then they want
and sponsors.
You Gregory, you on this show, you look beautiful.
Yeah,
I want to get to know you.
Right? Do you have? Right.
I gotta admit, some of them are super hot. So, like
I need a sponsor.
Right, so Malcolm's gonna end up with an African husband. y'all know
why? Like they got it going on. So
Malcolm's gonna be like, "This is my husband."
So you don't need to say anything. We understand.
So let's talk about this. Let's talk about being a certain age and being single. What has been like? We get unk and unk and pops. Now I'm really a pops, so I'm not offended by that. These grandbabies of mine, but so don't get offended at that. But it's what line, Malcolm? John? What is the demarcation line between sexy daddy and old man?
Well, I'm not a daddy.
Mm-hmm.
I have no kids.
Mm-hmm. Wow, see, when you said that, some wet panties just flew through. I don't know about that. Panty dropper, go ahead.
I mean, some people use it as a term, I guess, of endearment, respect. Could be it, but to me, when I'm called daddy, it's a no for me. It's a no for me. First off, I didn't give you the, I don't know you from a can of paint, but you calling me daddy? No, it's a no for me.
Well, yeah, I think premature pet names of any kind are pretty bad. But how do you feel about Zaddy?
No, I don't even know what that is.
It's still a no for me.
Okay. No Z, Zaddy.
No D's, no.
So now, okay, let's talk about that. What is Zaddy exactly?
I had no idea.
It's supposed to be a daddy that's sexy.
Right.
Okay.
Really hot.
Jawan T. Blackman's just tuned in. Let's see, just chimed in. Sir, pops, unc, cuz, bruh, dude, old man, daddy, zaddy. Exactly. It's about the intention and purpose on those ones.
Yeah, it's still a no for me.
It's
right. So basically, you don't want any sort of pet name that has you as the older partner or anything like. No recognition of that. Okay.
No.
I always get like the big man things because I am a large man. And that shit kind of gets on my nerves. Like sometimes people actually know my name and they're just like, "What's up, big man?" Like,
you're doing you a favor because she's 6'6". Upstairs, your brother is 6'7", so whenever you
I'm 6'4", 400. So yeah, I'm a big.
When that walks in, it's automatically. Hey, wow,
well, because I'm 6'6", I'm called Stretch. So.
Stretch.
That's funny. Yeah,
the 70s. Okay.
I was gonna say that's old school, like really old.
Stretch. Yeah. Mine, I think for the tall dudes, I always go with Squatch. Okay.
That reminds me of the Golden Girls episode when they were getting married, and she didn't say Stretch, but she called it clearly a feminine planner. She was like, "Butt out, Rambo." Too awesome. That was too awesome. So, what is generally meant for terms of endearment? But do we find there is there a well, I don't know because getting older for men is celebrated, but for some reason, older gay men, it's got one foot in the grave. Now that is changing. People like I don't know because what's his name that wears the ball gowns on it from what's his name dark skinned fellow he was on the show. He was the ballroom announcer.
Billy Porter?
Yeah, but so Billy is in his late 50s. You know what I'm saying? So he's making those type of high profile people, and you know, people are coming along, and I think you know, kids are coming along in their 40s, and you know, and they're doing more, and the aging is not the same, but like it's really so on putting on another hat when I financially advise, you know, someone in their late 40s, early 50s who generally doesn't have kids, they have all these assets, you know. So it's like, well, Greg, what do you think I should do with these assets? M. Lawrence says being a daddy doesn't have anything to do with age or height. Well, Mr.
It doesn't. However, where I have drawn a line with is if I don't know you, don't come at me like that. Let
Right.
me know you who you are. Let's get a rapport going, and then I will allow it. But coming out the gate, hey, daddy, no, it's a no for me.
Yeah.
Okay, Jawan, now this is hilarious. Jawan says I used to be called Stretch when I was smaller and younger. Now I'm called Duncan Hines and Krispy Kreme Deluxe. Ugh, I have to come to accept the thickness. Okay, well then,
Yeah.
listen, y'all queen said it best thickness, and she spelled it with a Q, so therefore it's okay. You know, she's getting thicker. You know, she's getting older, and so, and she's still considered one of the most sexiest men in the world. And then, but like, it just seems like there's a double standard, Jeffrey, with cis male heterosexual aging, and it's almost like gay men, especially gay black men, are relegated to the back when they get a certain age.
Oh no, I mean, you know, ageism is very real, and as we say, as I always say, you know, anytime you have a subgroup or minority group, we take on the issues usually a higher impact. You know, we see it with diseases, we see it with social conditions, and now we see it with ageism because, you know, sadly, you know, for most of us, you know, it's this idea that, you know, gays partied and lived it up and they, you know, while they were young and beautiful, and some of them didn't necessarily make it to an older age, and that's now changing. Like we talked about, you know, things like, you know, at one point, you know, the average age span for a gay black man in this country was 40 if you were lucky. You know, now we are living to, you know, because of, you know, changes in our social conditions. And even like with HIV, it's not so much of an issue as it used to be. People are living now. And we have, and the community has not necessarily caught up with that. You know, and when you have all these necessarily younger guys that are also coming out with daddy issues, which is a whole nother level of things, because even as a well, and I know, and I say that as from a personal experience. I know when I was younger, I used to have an attraction to older men, and I didn't call them daddy, and I didn't go through that, but I had to realize that that was something very attractive to me about an older man, the beards and the whole thing. But I did realize some of that also went into my own issues of dealing with my own father legitimately. You know, it's like they say straight women date their fathers. It's the same way actually with gay men, but we don't talk about that. Or we date the image of what we wanted our father to be. So if I see this fine ass man that I look and envision like this is quote unquote what my daddy looks like, and I sexualize that, it becomes a whole nother level of something.
Well, you know what's funny is when we were talking about attachment theory and so forth, it came about because of some of the stuff we were talking about Russia. You know, during the Soviet Union, they had a lot of like babies who were put in orphanages because they had this, you know, one child rule. So like if you had another baby, they put the baby in orphanage. And orphanages would not take care of babies, right? They fed them, they did all that, but they never coddled them, they never held them, you know. And there was this huge study in like broken babies basically because they were neglected physically.
And that's
And
how
so,
that's how they recruited spies and stuff, right?
no, this was one of the first times they realized that how we attach to our parents determines how we attach to people for the rest of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
So like people who have serious attachment issues, just like you said, like they had a distant relation to their father. Yeah, when they become sexually available, they will project some of those feelings, the missing feelings they had
Now,
from being distant from your father onto their partner. That's absolutely just the case. How comfortable you feel about that, I think is the fact that we don't want to think about it at all, of the whole like Oedipus complex shit that Freud talked about, and then Jung had this anima thing. It's kind of gross to think about, but it's real. It is how we love. Our parents, our caregivers, if it was an orphanage, teach us how to love and attach to other people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But just from I skip over these messages in my inbox, but daily there's a deluge of, "Hey, Daddy, you don't know me. I could be a mommy. You don't know."
Nowadays, you really could be.
Right. I mean, not being funny, but it's one of those things that it's you don't know anything about me. You know about my public persona, but you don't know anything about who I am particularly. So um, I don't know what to tell you. Like, don't judge a book by its cover. And I'm gonna make this announcement. Hey, coolly with the ass pics, y'all. Okay, say hello. I very good.
But you know what was, since we're talking about aging, what was so ironic is I recently got, I don't know if I want to call it hacked, but I guess you can call it hacked, on my Instagram page. And they created a whole porn site and everything else. And of course, I've done my damage control, but I'm just laughing at all the people that are commenting saying, "Oh, you big time."
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Big Daddy Stretch.
Stop. Stop.
So
It's happened to quite a few people, though. Yeah.
exactly. So Malcolm, roll that clip that I sent you, please.
One thing I think about that's hard about being a Black queer artist is that oftentimes our mentors, our loved ones, are ghosts. And so sometimes we are in community with an absence. HIV has already stripped so many of us of our ancestors.
I've had a few influences along the way, but the earliest one I can remember is Desmond Richardson.
Ruby Nell Sells. Julius Eastman.
Chris Walker.
Essex Hemphill.
Asanto Saint.
The Christopher John Rogers, the Brandon Blackwoods.
Case with rest in peace. Miss Tony, rest in peace.
Baltimore, the house. Miss Tony say, "How you want to carry it? What's up? What's up?"
Yeah.
And so that's with the other thing that we don't. And I wanted to play that clip is because we lost an entire generation.
We did.
And that Black men that it was. Anybody ever seen that show where the people went on a flight and that the flight disappeared for 10 years and then they came back? But it's
Manifest, I think.
Yeah. A million Black men went away.
Yeah.
Or more. I don't know what the numbers are, but we went away. We and it's I'm sorry, this is kind of emotional for me, but like to net, we lost culture, we lost history. And we didn't start to notice it until like the early 2000s that these people are gone and they're not coming back. So, we do things to try to now we have shows and we have moved forward with gay marriage and things, and we are living old ages regardless of your status, but life is improving, just as Jeffrey said, on a whole. But we need to remember that we've lost an entire generation. And so I think that as you age in general, but like getting older, nobody told me that you pee all the time at night. Like I can stop drinking water. You don't pee all the time at night.
It's a common thing, though. Yeah.
Is it? Do you pee all the time at night, Jeffrey?
Mhm.
I think I drink too much water. Because I think I drink a gallon or more a day.
I do too,
And that will do it.
You
but I
know,
don't.
you
I
don't
don't.
drink too much water.
I drink a lot of water, but I don't. I'm not as much of waterworks as you, but you know.
I mean, it just depends on where our bodies are, but I think you make a valid point because we have to remember, history is mostly transferred orally. Now, of course, with the rise of social media, we see a lot of that, but we also know that in a lot of social media, there's a lot of misrepresentation. And that's also, I think, where we're getting into this thing with ageism because, if you look at even gays that are portrayed on TV, whether it's popular culture or whatever, a lot of them are quote unquote young and beautiful. And, we're out and, all we're doing is partying and going through a lot of what we went through as youth. But like you said, I know the people that came along before me, like I used to tell people, we had a community here. I remember, like I tell the story often, I remember being very young and very dumb, going out one night, and I almost went home with this guy that I did not know. And one of the drag performers in one of the clubs here didn't really know me, but understood like I was younger and I probably shouldn't have been doing this. And she stepped in and was like she was my auntie. She was just like, look, you're not going home with this man. And I'm sitting up there like, and instinctually, I saw her as somebody that was my elder. So I literally told her, I was like, if she said I can't go, I can't go. Like it was like talking to my grandmother or one of my aunts or whatever. And we don't have that in the gay community now. Now our stories are being told through this filter, like by Ryan Murphy and people like that, which I think is great, but it's not a true, accurate portrayal of what we went through and even the dynamics fully of our community, like even some of the house ball community stuff. He got a lot of it right, but he didn't get all of it right, and yet again, we don't have that oral telling of our history because, it was like we talked about with Black history, it was very oral, it was passed down through the elders, and the elders made sure that the next generation got it. That doesn't even happen anymore. But you think about the gay oral history wasn't being told because yet again, the elders, our own elders, wiped that out. I went to the African American History Museum for the first time when I was in DC last week, and they actually finally had an exhibit. They had Baynard Rustin's thing up there, and Baynard Rustin, who organized the March on Washington, does not get a lot of love, and we don't talk about that. We don't talk about our Black gay heroes. And even with him, with everything that he did, we would not have had a March on Washington or I Have a Dream without Baynard Rustin. But that has been sanitized by our own community and the larger community as a large. So yet again, our culture and our storytelling is now portraying us in ways that is just not accurate because it's essentially been sanitized and washed out.
Yeah. I think about how I love that museum, by the way, but how long it took them to make that museum. I think he's a curator at the Smithsonian for about 30 years, so he had been trying to build that museum for about 30 years, and finally got up. But no, I think there's also a thing I thought about how ageism is actually tied into misogyny a lot. So one of the reasons I thought about this with my brother and his show and doing casting, and it's a very common casting thing for older men to have younger mates even when it doesn't make sense in the plot. So let's say you have like a 60-ish actor, most of the time they're going to cast a 40-ish woman to be his wife, even though like story-wise they should be around the same age. But there's something there, and I think a lot of that has to do, when I say tied into misogyny, is how women in Hollywood or in shows or whatever are expected to meet the standard of beauty, really, when it comes down to it. And that standard of beauty does not include being older. And so I think that's what's going on in the gay community as well, is that no matter how attractive you are, once you get older, our standard of beauty does not include you anymore. And sometimes the person themselves has internalized it as well, which then leads to like self-doubt, anxiety, and depression, so I think it starts with the idea that your value is not dictated by your appearance, and then valuing people for things other than what they can give you. I guess it's like I thought about that, where I do enjoy listening to people tell stories of times I was not involved in. I think that's like one of my favorite things to do. If I, when I go out, a lot of times I like people watching and thinking about everything, but it's kind of boring now because everybody's just on their phone. They're not doing anything. It's like people, like you can't just sit and talk to each other like a little bit. Like nobody, so boring.
I've said that a million times as somebody, as I've shared before. I literally went into my first gay club at 16, and it literally I had never experienced anything like it. And it was, and like I said, especially here in Atlanta and in the South, community was very important because yet again, we're, Atlanta has always been very liberal, but it's still in the South. And it was always been very homophobic, even before now that finally the acknowledgments that we have as far as our culture here. But, that was a completely different experience. And like you said, I found myself feeling old because I remember talking to somebody in their 20s and it was just like, well, why do y'all go out? And they was like, oh, you go out and then you get on your app and then you see. And I'm like, no, I said, we went out and we partied. We did. Like, if you didn't walk out of the club soaking wet because you had been on the dance floor, you hadn't partied. And I feel like my grandmama them, because your grandmama them back in the day would be like, y'all don't know good music. I'd be like, y'all don't know what it was like to party. And for me, it has been different because, like, even now, luckily God has blessed me in the sense of how I've aged. But when I tell people I'll be 50 in 3 years, they're looking at me like, huh? Like, and so it's a very real.
Get your baby face ass out of here.
Like, I don't want to get our video banned, so I'm not gonna.
Exactly.
And, like I told people, we talked about before, I personally, though, for me, I have embraced my age. And, when I finally did start to gray, like you said, I have friends that were bald by the time they were 25, so they absolutely looked older. Some of them, like you said, they grayed earlier, but for me, it was just the reverse. And I feel like at times I've had to deal with backlash from that because, I had people my own age that necessarily wouldn't want to date me or deal with me because they didn't know how old I was. And then I had all of these young folks that are coming at me and I'm just kind of like, first of all, I'm literally old enough to be your father. Like literally.
Right. And I tell some of the little young, I'm like, yo, I have a kid their age. Or my kid is older than you in some cases.
Right.
Like, I was like, yeah, 3 fucking grandkids. 3 of them little motherfuckers. Like, calm down. Like, it's okay. But I think I was damn, I forgot what I was about to say. I think I was telling John the other day, I was just like, I like myself. This is what I was about to say. I like myself better now.
Absolutely.
Than I did when I was younger. Like, I was 1990 something hot. It was a 33 in the waist, flat stomach, all that stuff. But I was on it. You know what I'm saying? It was like, yo, polka dots, gumby.
Not polka dots, Greg.
I mean,
I have a receipt. That's why I'm laughing because
he has receipts. We need to share those.
Yeah, I'm gonna say about Malcolm. Yeah, like that was that was a shit. But now, I really dig, who Greg is. And I like the fact that, I don't have to put on, and because I've become a lot straightforward as my friend Atlanta Mac, he was like, "You're just an old curmudgeon. You just mean." And I was like, "Yo, I took fit." I was like, "Yo, I am not mean, bro." Like, I took a little offense to that for real because I was like, I think I'm the nicest person ever. But what has happened is that I've learned to appreciate Greg differently. So it's just like, okay, now I ain't got to put up with nobody's bullshit because I am a gentleman of a certain age. Malcolm, I just text you. Because I am a gentleman of a certain age, I just don't have time for the bullshit. But so let's.
You are mean.
Oh wow!
And I was somebody in the comments agreed with it.
Wow!
Greg is catching it today.
Right? Okay.
That's why whenever we're talking on the phone, I address him as Mr. Drayton because I don't want him cussing me out.
Wow. Hmm.
Oh my.
Jeffrey, this may be Piccadilly's. I don't know. I may need one. I may need a weekend intervention.
Hey, let me know. That's all I'll say. But
Oh my God! Like
but like you said, what happens as we get older, especially yet again, because I know, especially I think men of a certain age, that gay black men of a certain age, like I tell these young guys now, and yet again, feeling like I'm old and my grandmother, but it's like, they have been able to grow up in such a way where they are grounded and they know who they were. We didn't get that opportunity because most of us had to stay in the closet or, just a lot of other things, and if we came out, we lost things that now, luckily these young people are not losing. They have a level of support that allows them to figure things out in the sense of who they are and be a little bit more grounded younger. For most gay black men around my age, it wasn't until we got into our 30s that we literally stopped, as Lester Bailey would say, doing the fuck shit and really stuff out.
Speaking of Lester Bailey, happy belated birthday to
yes, happy belated birthday, Lester. But no, I know, like for me, like I told somebody, and like I've even said, I've shared very openly about my journey as a black man. I was found out I was HIV positive at 20, and having to then figure what that meant, like to be a man, a black man, a gay black man, now an HIV positive gay black man, and who also during that time, I found out in 95, the life expectancy was at that time 5 to 10 years. I'm still here 20 plus years later, thank God, and was able to really fully come into who I am. But when you have to struggle with all those nuances, sometimes you just don't figure the other stuff out. Now, as a man, get ready to be 47 in a month, I'm like, you know what? Like you just said, I know who I am. I'm grounded. I figured a lot of that stuff out. We got into therapy and worked through some crap, So now we are, better people and more stronger. And in that sense, now I found out also does make you attractive. But yet again, like I tell people, understand what you are attracted to and why. That's why we talk about therapy on here. What is your attraction to me? Because I even have to do, like we talk after we do these shows. I don't get Greg Sucks box, but I have people that come and they will go. They will jump in your inbox though, and because they see, what we do and what we talk about and the fact that we are very grounded. And I've had people that say, oh my God, I'm in love. And I'm like, no, I said, you're not in love with me. You're in love with what you think I represent and what you feel like you might be lacking.
Correct. So, John, you went to high school with Jesus. What has been your experience?
Really?
Hey, look, I was in the same school. I was a freshman. He was a senior.
Not high school with Jesus.
Yeah, Jesus was like a junior.
You see what I mean? He's mean.
I said I was in high school with you. Obviously, we're not that far apart in age.
Mr. Drayton. Mr. Drayton.
Would you like to tell your age? Okay.
I am a beautiful 52.
See, we're only basically 2 years and some months apart. So I got a great diet.
You have a little more mileage than I do. So.
Whoa, see. Thank you for coming, sir. You will not be back.
Shots fired.
That was a pretty good dig, though.
I'm an expensive barber. I got a good dye job, so we're basically.
Gene does wonderful wonders.
Right, that's good Cuban skin. Hey, what can I say? But listen, I mean, like everybody's experience is different. Like I know, honestly, real talk, y'all. I know some gay men a little older than me, around my age, who have become agoraphobic, almost hermits. Because they used to be, and I'm gonna give you the scenario, and then we're gonna know the person. Like they used to be super hot back in the day, and then they didn't age well. And when you see them, you're like,
"What happened?"
Well, yeah, who is that? And then you're like, wow. And then they'd be like, hey, it's me. I'm like, you fucking lying. You in a car accident, sir? Like, are you okay?
It happens a lot with celebrities. Who was that dude? Was it Brendan Fraser who kind of?
Oh my, yeah, he looks way different.
Yeah, and I think I saw like a recent picture of Madonna that was not flattering. at all.
Madonna's almost 70.
I know.
I mean, can she look old at some point? You can.
I know, right? But I'm just saying, like,
I took a couple of more lessons from Cher because Cher still looks like she about 40.
She got a good ass doctor.
And she should have been y'all's valedictorian if y'all went to school with Jesus. So
yeah. But it happens a lot, especially in the public
I
eye.
said not Nazareth.
you know what? Oh, and Raheem put in here also Jasmine Guy. I saw Jasmine Guy recently, and I was like, whoa. But you know, also the other thing we need to remember too is that also how we as gay men are socialized, because if you realize that a lot of how we are socialized, even especially when we're younger, but we tend to socialize physically first. We don't really get into
Right.
you are the person. We really are a very visual people, and that's how a lot of us end.
Stop, brother, stop.
And so that's the thing for me is like when we
hold on 1 second, Michael. I'm so sorry. We need to delve into this comment right here. Jasmine Guy, aka the Grim Reaper. Now, what you will not do is disrespect Whitley Gilbert. Okay. We know she a long way from school day. She still don't want to be alone tonight. Listen,
I'm sorry, but I can't try her anymore. I'm just sorry.
Try me.
No, she's been tried.
But I don't know. So how do we feel about? Do we feel like light-skinned people age differently than dark-skinned people? I think the darker you are, the better you age. I just think dark.
Well, there has been, because there's been some people that have said for years that if the more Caucasian blood you have in you, essentially it does impact aging. And I have noticed, you know what, sir, we're gonna give you a timeout.
That's the last. I'm putting you out of here, sir. I love you like good food right here, but you're getting out. That's
But there are certain things in our genetics that are absolutely going to impact how we age. And for some people, they say the higher percentages of your Caucasian ancestors or oppressors or colonizers that you might have in your genetics could potentially impact that. So
y'all get text messages that I'm mean. I'm just how mean I am mean. Oh God.
Here's the thing I was thinking about with aging and community, right? So yeah, there are these standards, beauty standards that we age out of as we get older. And what I'm thinking about is when older people are trying to build communities for themselves, how is it beneficial to basically recreate the same spaces that were for younger people for older people? Because those space, the way we crafted them when we were younger were so visual based, so shallow, as older people, are we going to center the way that we interact with each other on something more than our physical appearance?
I don't think that's ever going to go away. I think the hot old guy is going to go for the hot old guy.
Well, yeah.
We're going to go. I don't think that's
I'm just saying that don't older people have different interests? That's what I'm saying.
Not older gay men. It still comes down to something very carnal, and that's the reason why I wanted to have this conversation today.
Because I think as long as it comes down to that very carnal thing, you're always going to be ass out. I mean, because you're older.
It's like the article that you referenced on Wednesday, Malcolm, the AARP one. Why is that lesbians seem to be in relationships as they get older? And I mean, how many stories? I know I've seen a million stories. She came out when she was 60 and now she has a wife and they have all these kids, and it's like, well, damn, she's getting her life at 60. But but with gay men, and that's a conversation that we'd have to have, because as I tell people now, I getting to this point in my life, and this might just be for me, but as somebody that has understood that at one point I wasn't supposed to see a certain age, whether it was 25, 30, and damn near not 50. I'm not going to play in your spaces like that. Will I go out and have a good time? Absolutely. But I'm not going to be sitting in, some twink club where everybody's twerking and whatnot and trying to get my life. Musically, I don't listen to the same things. You know what a lot of these kids listen to, and I get again, I'm old aging myself, but I don't give a damn. You know, I'm not. You know, trap music. No, I am not listening to no fucking trap music.
Yeah, I thought the funniest thing. Did you see that interview Megan Thee Stallion had with Hillary Clinton?
I don't talk about it because I'm watching it.
Okay, but that's what went through my mind. How old she is.
Right, she has some very interesting guests.
Oh my god!
They've gotten real good reviews about that.
That interview was everything, honestly. Just because of the age difference, like the generational shift. It was really anyway.
Like also from the show, congratulations to Lizzo. She won 2 Emmys, which is amazing. I really didn't care for the show, but I mean.
But the fact that she beat out RuPaul's Drag Race, who has dominated that category for the last couple of years, was.
I think they were just looking for a new winner, and Ru wasn't mad. You know.
No. I mean, she's been on his show and the whole nine. I don't think yet again. You know, let her have her moment. I think that was great, though. I mean, I think
that was very well. But so Wednesday. So speaking of the Grammys, I'm gonna go off on a tangent because Uncle Derek. Happy birthday again, Uncle Derek. I think
yes, happy birthday, Derek.
It was yesterday. I made sure to send you a happy birthday. Contribute to the show and personal homie. Thank you, sir, and welcome to the 50s. I was about to say so we got into a thing about it because when Quinta, is that her name? Quinta?
Yes, it's Quinta Brunson.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome, sir.
Miss Brunson.
Proceed.
Thank you. Miss Brunson herself. When like Jimmy Fallon had this ill-fated comedy skit when he laid across the floor, and when she accepted her award, he was laying there. Now he took the mantle of Black people and he said, okay, well, I'm offended I'm like, but she wasn't, so why would you be? You know what I mean? Like, if she was cool with it, why would you be offended? It was like, because it was wrong. But again, if she did not dictate it being wrong, oh my God, he's coming through. Oh, I'm so happy.
Get a Sharpie.
Oh, I'm so happy about that. I cannot wait. I'm going to use some turpentine when I get over here and just scrape it out. No, I laid back to take a nap in the chair, and he got me. And we were supposed to not do it this time. But anyway, so he took the mantle of Black people and said, well, I'm offended for her. And I was like, well, if she's not offended, why would you be offended? So, like, let that go. And then we went down the rabbit hole of Chris Rock being smacked. And I was like, well, Chris Rock kind of deserved it. I mean, Will Smith was wrong, but I've been wanting to smack Chris Rock for years.
I mean, yeah, it was. I think everyone enjoyed it on a certain level. Like I do.
And people want to say it's gonna stop. No, Will Smith still getting a lot of checks.
But see, that's the thing. No matter how someone feels about it, you're going to have your own feelings about it. And then my position is, I'm not going to tell you how you should feel about it. I do think you should have a certain amount of decorum sometimes when you're on public forums discussing how you feel about something. Like, sometimes it's just ridiculous. It makes you look petty, and going on and on about how wrong it was when this woman who is the one who was wrong isn't. That's where my issue is. It's like I feel how you feel about it.
She came on Jimmy Kimmel the next night. And she actually said she didn't really notice because she was too much in the moment. She had won her award, so it was like I didn't even pay attention to it. So,
well, I think one of the major things though is whenever there are pictures of her accepting the award, he's in the picture.
Right. Yeah. Okay, I get you that.
Well, you know what? If it bothers you, crop him out.
And she said, though,
yeah, you can. Yeah, you can easily crop him out.
It did not bother her also that he was there because he had been one of her biggest supporters behind the scenes, and told him about what her idea for Abbott, and he said that should be a TV show. So they have a relationship that we don't understand. So, like, Greg, I personally can't comment on that because obviously there's some other stuff, because she even said in another interview she was okay with having him there, and she actually felt better having him there,
Right, and that's what I'm saying. If she,
even though it was kind of like what happened because after the Will Smith thing happened, Questlove got his Oscar, and a lot of people feel like because of what Will did, it had sucked the auction out. That was a completely different scenario.
right,
But that's exactly why people respond differently. Like you said, she has a different relationship to this man, this particular man, doing his joke on her acceptance speech or whatever, versus the person sitting at home who might have a different relationship to, say, seeing black women wronged or put aside or made subordinate to white men, not having any personal relationship to this particular white man or this black woman.
But
and so you project your own shit onto what happens. That's all I'm saying. Like, your experience.
Like, my whole thing is if the BIBI that it happened to doesn't bother them, I'm good with it. So Raheem brought up a very good comment. Raheem, which he's one of the best realtors in the business. He also is a great appraiser. So if you need any real estate service, go check that brother out for sure. He is in business to do good business. He says, I've noticed that some guys who looked at me twice 20 years ago are not pillars of the big boy community. And in my inbox, I guess the idea of beauty has evolved with the waistline. Yes. And so we talked about that beauty fades, and or the idea of beauty changes. Want to take the mute button off, sir? We can't hear you. Take the mute button off.
I said I haven't faded. I'm still here.
No, I know. I understood what he said. He was on mute.
I wanted him to say it out loud. I heard what he said. I heard. Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? And I think it's a construct. We're back to constructs again. I think it's one of those things that it's in the eye of the beholder. I am sexy because I think I am. And take that to the motherfucking bank.
But also, we have to also remember, though, community is important, but we also need to stop looking for community for validation. Because at the end of the day, like he just said, I am absolutely wonderful and beautiful and sexy in my own right. And if you don't like that, what you say, well, one person does not like, somebody else will. We have to, especially as older gay black men, stop allowing these younger people and our community as a whole to relegate us and put us in boxes. Because yet again, that is never fun. And I don't care who it is. I don't care whether it's somebody that's white putting me in a box because I'm black, or straight people but we need to stop allowing our importance to be regulated by what somebody else thinks of me.
Nobody's gonna put baby in a box. Okay, so we have reached that time in the show, y'all, when we go around and around like 10 and oh, sorry. So listen, we've reached that time that I like. It was like one of the best ideas I've ever had. Where we go around the panel, which is, what is something that happened to you that brought you joy?
I want to start, Greg, because I actually need to run. I got to get somewhere. But the thing, and this is kind of it's a short but quick story. But I've shared with, I know Greg knows, but I lost my stepfather a week ago today. My brother's father actually passed away on his birthday, which was while I was in DC, which has been absolutely crazy. But some family drama and whatever came up, and people was like, I'm sure, like, well, why is there joy in this? But the thing I realize is that when we talk about this on this show often, don't wait until somebody dies in order to say what you need to say to them. Because right now, my family, a lot of my brother, he has half siblings or whatever. I had a lot of issues with my stepfather growing up, and him and my mother were just not good people. And what he did about 10 years ago is he came to me and he apologized for what he had done and how he felt like he had contributed to my childhood trauma, which I realized was a gift in itself, because you don't often get to have, like we was talking about Wednesday, sometimes we don't get to have those conversations with parental figures in such a way that we were able to get closure. And I felt like I got that. But the thing for me is that the reason why this brings me joy is, like I told my brother and his family, his half siblings, all of y'all drama is y'all's and y'all's alone, because me and him had a conversation a year ago, and he told me that he had an aneurysm, and that if it burst, it would kill him. And essentially that's what happened. But in that moment, over the last year, and even before he told me that, I've been able to work with him. We worked in similar fields. He helped me get people off the streets. He was really actively involved in the homeless, helping get people off the streets here. And he had issues back in the day. He had drug issues and a whole lot of other stuff. Just like any other black man, he had his burden to bear. But I said for me, it's been a very peaceful thing for me compared to what my brother and others are dealing. Because as I told them, I said everything that I felt like I needed to say to him long before all of this happened. And they were given the opportunity and decided not to. And now they're all dealing with it. And that's not about judgment, but that's just about remember that the people that you care about, don't take for granted that they're going to be here tomorrow, and say what you need to say and get as close to you can, in some cases, as closure that you can possibly get, because it's not always given.
Amen. And condolences to you and your family.
Thank you. But on that note, I have to run because I actually have to go and actually get ready for a memorial service tomorrow. So I will see you guys hopefully on Wednesday.
Love, peace, and
right.
brother.
Peace.
All right, peace out. So listen, that was John, since you are new to the panel, what brought you joy this week, sir?
This week?
Yeah.
Actually, I met a couple of good, positive people that I am welcoming into my life.
Okay.
Grounded, good conversation. We seem to have like minds. One of them's name is Mr. Drayton.
Hey, come on now.
So I thought I'd go ahead and give him that shout.
Hey, come on now. You forgot.
Even though he's a mean old man.
Right, you forgot the talented Mr. Drayton.
Oh my God, the talented Mr. Drayton. Jesus.
It's like you have to say the whole thing like a pimp named Slipknot. You got to say
clearly.
John, I normally say at the beginning of every show, I name myself that so I can give myself accolades when people call me that. So
and
actually, it's a literary reference.
And also, I've started to delete what I call false prophets out of my life.
Yeah,
that's okay. I'm going to let Malcolm go. Then I'm going to use my time to go back and visit because that is important. Go, Malcolm.
All right, I got a video. I'm just gonna play it.
What is Herschel Walker saying here?
So, you're discussing women's issues this week. What are some of the things that are kind of on top of your mind when you're thinking of women's issues?
Well, I love them to address that since they're women, so they can do it a little better than I can. But I think, there's no doubt crime is very, very important. And this economy is tough because they got to buy groceries. I think all the inflation, the gas prices, the grocery prices.
I'm not even trying to figure out what he means yet. I'm literally, what are you saying? Let's start from the beginning.
Well, I love them to address that since they're women, so they do it a little better than I can. But
so I think he said, I would love them for the woman they and so that they better do better than I can. Let me make sure that's what he said.
Well, I love them to address that since they're women, so they can do it a little better than I can.
Yes, I love them would address that for this better woman to do better than I can. Let's continue.
I think, there's no doubt crime is very, very important.
Crime is very, very important. I don't know why that's a woman's issue, but.
And this economy is tough because they got to buy groceries.
This economy is tough. They got to buy grocery. Singular. They've got to buy a singular grocery. They got to go to a grocery store and buy a grocery.
I think all the inflation, the gas prices, the grocery prices.
As of today, Herschel Walker holds a 2-point lead over Raphael Warnock in a tight Senate race. The man who said, "I would the woman buy grocery," is winning.
I'm sorry, that gives me joy. So
I know,
but the groceries.
I know Republican white people here in Georgia.
Oh God!
And what poll is he reading that he's ahead by 2 points?
Oh God!
Hey, of course, Republican leaning polls.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I know, because I used to be on that side of the thing, so I know people. And no,
I gotta go buy a grocery.
And the crime and the one we did there.
Oh Jesus!
I may have to go
Colonel Joy is so fucked up.
Oh,
well, did you know? Like he said, he was once a deputy of the police department, and as evidence, he gave them this like honorary deputy card that they give children as proof.
We're gonna pray on this.
We know what the answer is, but Mitch McConnell is about to lose his shit.
Oh my god, so much joy. It's so bad.
Yeah, I may have to co-opt that. My
He's so dumb. He's so fucking dumb.
Oh my!
Mine is nowhere near as that. Actually, mine is on some old.
Oh my god! Yeah. I gotta buy groceries.
One grocery. So what is that, like one bag of groceries? Is that the whole thing, like fish and grocery?
Crying. It's so bad.
Oh my god!
Good luck, America.
Oh god.
America has a problem.
We do. Yeah, no problem.
Just give him a football and shut up.
Right. I have a friend of mine who has all these signed things from Herschel Walker. And he's like, now I have them in my basement because I don't want nobody to see them. So to my thing this week is there is a new season of Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune. Sorry, it's the 40th season for both because I'm an old man and I'm here for it. But thing number 2 was that clip that Malcolm just played. Can you play it one more time?
Yes.
One thing I think about that's hard about being a Black queer artist is that oftentimes our mentors, our loved ones, are ghosts. And so sometimes we are in community with an absence. HIV has already stripped so many of us of our ancestors.
I've had a few influences along the way, but the earliest one I can remember is Desmond Richardson.
Ruby Nail Cells. Julius Eastman.
Chris Walker.
Essex Hempfield.
A Sancho Saint.
The Christopher John Rogers, the Brandon Blackwoods.
Case with rest in peace. Miss Tony, rest in peace.
Yeah, that spoke to me, honestly. I was talking about the Herschel Walker clip, but I'm just kidding.
Oh, the Herschel Walker? You want me to play it again?
I was kidding. I didn't mean that clip, but yeah. So that was very profound for me this week. Also, I tend to try to bring in clips that.
Yeah, I did like the whole like having a like a meditation or a good positive affirmation. Yeah.
So what you want to do tomorrow is tune into M3. You can see Devon as he hosts. What does he name it? I call it the Nerd Hour. I feel like that's
I think he calls it a very nerdy podcast.
Okay, a very nerdy podcast hosted by Devon Brand. Tomorrow, Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where he will talk about everything in every nerd universe. I wish I knew more than what he was saying, but I don't know. Then you can catch my man 20 Grand Malcolm on Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Look at that afro. Look at that.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna explore the older younger gay relationship. I'm gonna have to have a conversation about that. Yeah.
Well, there you go. And that's a little teaser. And for him, if you have any input on that particular topic, you can inbox him at all things M3, all platforms, Instagram, Facebook, and all that good stuff. And he will give you some feedback on what you want. Yeah. Speaking of adding to the show, please sign up for Patreon when you become a paying member to help us produce this gig. You know what I'm saying? So do that. More than happy. Now, you can also catch me here next Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I will be doing a soft shoe tap and singing for your pleasure. Mm-hmm.
Oh, a non-mean pick.
You do kind of like the mean mugs, Greg.
So, I get back to this pick. Let me tell you the thing. I'll go back to that. So, I can no longer find those. Are glasses are personal. Yeah. I love those glasses. I cannot find them. So whatever fucker stole them, please, like I don't know what they are. I'm joking, but yeah, I was truly happy. I was eating at a restaurant, and that's usually my happy place.
Right? Food is in front of you.
It's food, so delicious and scrumptious. So please hit the subscribe button, so you'll know when we come back on with one of our entertaining shows for you. And again, you can catch us on all major social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram. If you have questions, again, enough with the aspects. Just ask your question minus the as every Saturday, it is my pleasure to entertain you. Please stay tuned for a few minutes on Patreon, where you can help us produce the next show. Thank you so much. And I'd like to thank John. You can put my face back up, I don't think. I'd like to thank John for joining us the first time on the panel. I hope he will be back. It was very entertaining.
Yeah. We're on Patreon now.
Okay. Yeah.
We have like a couple of patrons already here, which is cool.
Nice. Welcome to those on Patreon. Appreciate it. So help us. We
Thank you, gentlemen, for letting me grace you all with my presence today.
It was great.
Regularly.
Yeah, for sure.
You are quite entertaining.
Like, what are some of the issues that you like talking about online? Like, what's your interests?
Politics. Getting more Black people involved in politics and understanding the politics and understanding the people that are speaking the politics is one of the things that I would like more of us to, because I was listening to the radio and they were, you know how they have the little questions they ask listeners, and every single person they asked them, do you vote? And every single one of them said no. That was kind of like, you don't vote. So it's just stuff like that.
I hate it when people are proud of the fact that they don't vote. That irritates the shit out of me. Like, I can understand you just being lazy or busy, you know, whatever, or just not interested. But to actively say like voting is crap and someone gave the example of like, if you tried a recipe out of a book and it came out bad and you just say, oh, well, cooking sucks. You know, I tried cooking one time, you know, cooking's horrible. Like, cook better, bitch. God damn
it. But yeah, those are some of the things, and you know, different social things that happen within the community that sometimes just don't make sense to me. And maybe some people can help me out with it and help me understand it, because some of it just does not make sense to me.
So, Brother John,
absolutely,
Brother John, do we think? Yeah, you're right. Brother, do we think the Republicans? Well, I think that the Supreme Court is royally screwed. That's what happened. But
it's going to be that way for a long time.
Either that people are going to be mad at the Supreme Court, and that's going to the Republicans. Well,
because I'll just say this: Clarence Thomas.
You said it right, bro.
He got a list of stuff he want to do, and he's literally said what he's gonna try to make happen. So,
he's voting. He's doing things to make his own marriage illegal.
Now, the only thing that would probably stop it, which I hope they do, the January 6th committee go after that slut. Wife, Jenny. His wife. So, because she all in his ear. I'll put it like that.
Yeah.
So now, but Adam Kinzinger, they are drawing that line so precisely. They are, and she is scared. So, my girl is, what's her name? At 4:00, Malcolm. I love her. She used to be on The View. Nicole Wallace. Thank you.
Oh yeah.
I love her. She's like, I don't know why. I've always done it. Even when she was a Republican, I loved her. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But other than that, she said that Jenny has gone through 2 lawyers already.
Yeah.
She
was clearly trying to help, like from the messages they had, and they keep getting more because she is basically in touch with all of the major players. And that apparently was her thing, is just being a social climber in DC. The fact that her husband's a Supreme Court justice is probably not a coincidence. It's like, I'm pretty sure part of that is because she wanted to be, socially climbing amongst conservatives. And so, the biggest ones, of course, were her contacts with Trump's chief of staff, but like just other people. The only thing is, like, the reason why I don't see anything coming of it is because everyone, from the responses that I've seen so far, just placate her and say yes and whatever, but they didn't do anything, Like her correspondence didn't result in any actions. They just showed that she was trying to overthrow the government, which is
pretty much
itself pretty fucking crazy. And of course, she was like a QAnon believer, it seems like. And, some of the things she said beyond just like wanting to overthrow the government was why, that there was this huge Christian army type deal against the forces of evil. Like, bitch, you are crazy.
Yep.
You're crazy. So yeah, from what I understood, Adam Kinzinger, he gave an interview not too long ago about like all of the interviews that they have already conducted, like over this period of time that they've been away. They said they've been in full mode. The biggest one would be, of course, the vice president, right? Or Vice President Pence. The only problem, of course, is that he probably wants to run for president.
Yep.
He did say that he would do it. So to me, that means they will. I don't see why they wouldn't. He said publicly, he's going to probably testify. I think basically all he has to do is talk about what happened that day. Like if they ask him, I'm curious as to whether or not he heard people saying "hang you" as you're being carried off. I don't know. And all those details almost don't even matter, because here's the deal. They had a chance to prosecute Trump when he was in office, and they didn't. And I know that was because, the AG was one who was working for the Republicans, but it's like, it is a problem when someone has like the security clearance he has and the connections that he has to convict him of a crime like they're trying to do. Well, because the call to Raffensperger, the official in Georgia, Secretary of State, I couldn't remember him. Secretary of State of Georgia could easily be interpreted as a crime, and it's like, why haven't they just gone ahead and prosecuted him for that? Like, that tape has been publicly available for almost 2 years now, right? Or at least, or at least a year and a half. But they said that would be one of the more common ones, or possible ones that he would be convicted on. Obviously, the documents being removed from the archives.
Yep.
And then the slate of electors scheme, But that doesn't even include the things like profiting from being the president. Like, why aren't they willing to, prosecute him on the emoluments clause? Like, I don't even know if there's no. I mean, one of the reasons they wouldn't do that is because there's no precedent or even, rule book. Like, usually they want to follow procedures, right? That people have set forth. They've never done that. So there's no procedures. Like, you literally have to write the rule book on how to prosecute that case. And I don't think a lot of people don't want to do that. Like, it's just too much work.
Right.
And they don't want to get it wrong. I'll give you an example of one. We're talking about aneurysms. I just finished reading Quincy Jones' new book, and they were talking about, he had an aneurysm that blew, and he survived, and he had a second aneurysm that was going to blow, and they couldn't find a surgeon who would do the surgery because they didn't want to be the surgeon who was going to kill Quincy Jones. Eventually, I did find someone, and he recovered. But just the fact that it was going to be so in the public eye makes some people not want to do it. And I think that's really the issue with prosecuting Trump. It's like a lot of these people, they don't want to be in the public eye. They didn't get these jobs to have national attention. It's like, fuck that.
Right.
Some people are not built for that shit. So, and of course, it's not going to be fun. Trump is going to make it as difficult as possible. He's petty as fuck. You know.
But the thing I enjoy about America is we do stuff because we like to watch a train wreck.
Yeah.
Well, we do stuff. That's how he got elected on a dare. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I dare you to elect Trump. We know he's gonna be an asshole, but let's do it anyway, see what happens. And then we got scared once he fucked it all up.
Yeah.
So what I tell people is, you know, we were being held hostage by a very, very small minority group of Americans. Like, oh, the Trump base, it's not. It is not. Republicans voted Republican, and poor white people came out and did what poor white people wanted to do a long time ago. The difference is with Trump base, they're just poor white people that care to vote. It was like when black people voted for Obama.
Yeah, I mean that's true.
It's that same. It's the same coalition.
They sometimes call it identity politics, which I don't really like that term.
Yeah, I don't like that term. I find that to be a little bit asinine.
But the difference is they're trying to just draw a distinction between policy and identity. I think it is a real thing, like when it's really about who you are, versus what you want them to do. And yeah, it is. Like it was, of course, identity politics with Obama. It's like, yeah, like Michelle Obama, like I want her to be my first lady. Come on, it's not about policy.
I think she was transparent and win the presidency. I think she's that high on. I think like America would not give her issue. That's just my opinion on that. But it's tough. So like we want. John, we really want to get more into podcasting as well, like what it is. So we're trying to figure out, because we're probably the only show on the internet. We are live every week, and I go on vacation whenever I feel like it. But Malcolm does not, so he's that person is in heavy rotation. I mean, he takes off every now and again.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot less on social media as well. I used to do a lot of like posting daily. I just don't do that anymore.
So
I would like to do more promotion, but yeah,
and then we just plan on doing it's just the time factor, like doing other podcasts.
Yeah, that's the thing of like, if we want to make this more like a business, we have to get into a regular rhythm of podcasting where it fits within our schedule and it's flexible. So like even if we have to work or something for a couple weeks to be off, that the output schedule would be normal.
Correct.
And the way that I see that is just like you record often and offline. Basically, you don't do it live, and you come up with a few points. If you're listening to something or watching something, you have a few points, and you just, as we sit here like right now, read through each of the points, talk about it. If we had the money, we would hire an editor at that point, because editing your stuff is a pretty big bottleneck.
We can intern like all America does. You go find an intern that needs the.
Yeah, I mean, I can do. Obviously, I can do it. It's just it is time consuming and exhausting.
Nothing else, because now you're gonna have to be a nurse to your mama.
Yeah, I could do it for a little while. I was just saying, like I have the capability. It's just I wouldn't be able to keep up that pace for a while. But that's where.
When did her, on a personal note, when did her caregiver quit?
Yesterday.
She was like, "Bitch, I'm out." Deuces.
Well, this is what's funny. We were reading. We read the it was a financial book.
Yeah,
Then we read the Quincy Jones book, and then we were reading a book on boundaries. So no, she basically was saying something that she didn't like about her caregiver, and she quit. And at first, she was just like, my mom set a boundary about something she was doing that she didn't like, and the caregiver quit. I was just like, you realize, she was kind of upset at first, but she was like, you realize that she was eventually going to quit anyway, because what was going to happen was she was going to continue to do this until you got upset and blew up at her, and then she would have left. But in this case, you told her in a calm manner, and you left amicably. I say that's a win. So now all you got to do is go find someone who's more compatible and start asking for what you want right up front, you know?
Yeah, because especially if you are the one paying, you are the one that's
you're paying this woman. Right. If she's not doing what you want her to do, go pay someone else, like find someone else. Correct. So it was a good thing. It's a positive, even though it's a pain in the ass. Definitely a pain in the ass. But
I hope we can get you back on a more regular basis. John, how was your experience?
Oh, great. I'm actually getting a phone call from somebody who I told to log into the show, and he's probably calling me now. But
well, let us know how we'd only do this for about 15-20 minutes. We ran a little long today. So Malcolm, I will call you later.
Yeah, sounds good, man.
I'm going to put on some Fleetwood Mac and clean my house.
I'm about to do.
Yeah, no particular order. All right, John, I'll hit you up in a minute.
Mean self. Right, okay.
Right, I just can hold it. I cannot. Everybody call me me. Oh my God! I hope they were joking.
It's jokes.
I feel attacked. I feel like I'm on the Real Housewives of Atlanta or something. I feel attacked.
I said what I said. No, just kidding.
Come on. You know I know that bitch in real life. She's crazy.
Oh God.
I'm trying to get her to come on one day. So she can she'll say some shit like that. You know I love the gays. I ain't got time for y'all this week. Right. Her ass will do. All right. See y'all.
All right.
All right. Later.
Damn, we got the call.